All right, we are getting ready there. All right, so we're gonna, in order to keep this as small as possible, I did a bunch of things. One of the things is I started the peppers and onions. Now I start the peppers and onions slow and slow. I actually start the green peppers first, and I let them get translucent. And once they're translucent, I add the onions. I'm covering them on a low heat to do that. I'm not sauteing them. And then around now is when I'm turning up that heat, because I'm going to want things to caramelize a little bit. And it's just kind of the way I do it, because I think this is probably spurned because a lot of times I'm cooking in a pot, not a pan, and it's a lot of peppers and onions for a saute. Now is also the time when I turn it way up, where I dump in some garlic, and I dump in the garlic. This garlic is minced garlic in a jar. I do get it at my local Hannaford. It's my favorite supermarket. And there's a lot of fluid in there, so you throw some of that in, a little water on the bottom, really soaks it up. But as you can see, I have this heat way up. By the way, the music in the background, Chambers Brothers, Time Has Come Today. I don't know, like what, 1965, 67, 68 maybe? I don't know. One of the greatest songs ever written. A truly non-political, political song, if you know what I'm saying. Generalized political sense of the world. You should dig it. Great stoner music. I mean, really great stoner music. Okay, anyway, I throw the garlic in. I got this heat way up high. I'm getting this to caramelize. Just before I turn the camera on, I just added one more tablespoon of olive oil. Again, I'm cooking with extra virgin olive oil. People tell me that it won't hold up to the heat, but the way I cook it seems to be fine. I'm very happy with it. I never use vegetable oil. Every now and then I'll use avocado oil, especially if I'm doing something where it needs to be a little more delicate flavor. But anyway, yeah, this is getting really ripping. And this is the peppers and onions I've set aside for one of my wife's recipes. She asked me to get them going and started. If you have some time, that's a little pro tip. Get the peppers and onions started to the point where everything's translucent, and then finish them off and caramelize them at a later date. You can refrigerate them or freeze them. I don't like to go too far ahead because they tend to get watery. You got to throw a little more olive oil in, and then you can throw in a little garlic afterwards. And anyway, neither here nor there. So this is my peppers, onions, and a shit ton of garlic. You will be able to smell the sweetening as the sugars are caramelizing. If you can't smell it, I hope I'm not all fogged up. Whatever. If you can't smell it, it ain't happening. You'll notice it gets brown too. You'll see that everything's starting to brown, almost like it's burning to the pot. But that's I guess it's kind of like burning out the sugars. This is the prime example of why I use a wooden flat spatula, because as I'm scraping here, I'm not letting anything stick to the bottom. If you use something rounded, you'll be missing spots and you'll burn onto your pan or pot in this case. The only reason I use the pot is I don't like dishes, by the way, and it facilitates what I need to do, because you're gonna see. Now if you look in there, you'll see things are starting to stick and brown. I don't know if you're picking up on that. There you go. Yeah, there's a good example of it. So, all right, what we're gonna do at this point, oh yeah, now it's got that great sauteed onion smell to it, and and garlic. So we're gonna take that heat down a little bit. Now is the time when we're gonna start adding other stuff. What we're gonna do is we want to get a little bit of a fry on our hot peppers. So those are going in there first, and I might need one more quick little shot of olive oil to keep my pan clean. We're gonna find out. But at this point, I'm also gonna take my heat. My heat was up at 10. I'm gonna take my heat down to 6. I'm gonna put one little squirt of olive oil in there, just the tiniest little boop in there, and oh, it's starting to smell really good. And those are our jalapenos. I have 2.5 jalapenos and 2.5 long Italian peppers. They're hot Italian peppers. I don't know, about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch diameter, about 6-7 inches long each. A little tiny bit of heat, a nice flavor. If you could see in here, I don't know if you can already see that, like, immediately. It's almost like they're steamed, the jalapenos. They got that brighter green color on. And I think it's because they went into something that's hot, and there is still a lot of moisture in there, as you can see by the steam. So we're just gonna keep doing this. Cat Stevens Peace Train coming on, the music in the back. Great song, just not in the mood for it. I'm a sucker for a song about good humanity, you know. And this is one of the best. Anyway, I'm just gonna stir this in, and now we're gonna start. My beans have been rinsed and drained and rinsed. They're going in next. This is 6 cans of beans, 15 ounces, 15, 16 ounces, 15 3/4, quarter, whatever. Again, I use, dropped a bean. I use salt, no salt added products when I use canned goods. And we always let people add their own salt as they need it. I'm gonna turn this down. I don't wanna get copyrighted, so let's do that. Hopefully I've avoided it. Anyway, the beans go in, and everything's hot. I wanna kinda keep the heat up a little higher now that the beans are in, because what I'm trying to do now is get everything to come up to heat. Next step, the tomato sauce. It's just the volume I use because it's the volume that's available. In it goes, and with the flat spatula I can get every little bit out of the bottom. You know, you don't have to get every tiny last bit, but you know, you're wasting a lot of food if you don't scrape your cans. You'll see a lot of old timers. You know, I learned from my mother and my grandmother that a little bit of water in that can, rinse it around, you're going to lose that water to cooking anyway, but you do end up with the tomato sauce goodness. And that's just a can of plain old tomato sauce, nothing added to it. And the way I'm looking at it here is with the hot peppers, the green peppers, the onions, and the garlic. We've added quite a bit to the sauce here. We've really put some things in the pot to give flavor, even without a salt. But we're going to go a little bit further. And also, just so you're aware of this, as you cook this, it seems to get a little bit, like so many other things, it seems to get a little bit more watery. You know what I mean? Fluidy. So we're just going to take that much more water. I mean, you can hear that going, you know? That's my recycling box. That's the canned goods that went in here, and it's a lot of food. This is a good base for a chili, by the way. But you do have to add a lot of spices, and make a chili you would really need to add meat, I guess. I don't know. Somebody told me that there's no tomatoes in chili or something like that, but whatever. You know, we're in real chili, but who knows? It's like one of those arguments. Can you get buffalo wings that aren't from Buffalo? Yeah, you know, it's become a generalized term. Sort of like Kleenex. All right, now that's coming up. The last thing I have to put in is spices and the garlic. I'm gonna save that until I get the spices in to turn it all over. I'm gonna save cayenne for last. Let's start with my primary spice is cumin. Now you see it's bubbling and it's sending fluid up. Very nice, very nice. We want this to get hot, like not spicy hot, but physically hot. Now with cumin, for a pot this size, man, people are gonna kind of freak out a little bit, but this is what I do. 1, 2, 3, not flat flush teaspoons. Okay, now I'm gonna mix that in. Oh, it smells so good. And this is because I've been on a kick with currying spices lately. So I do use a lot of cumin. It's a flavor I really am into these days. All right, so we got that. Let's cayenne pepper. Now this is cayenne pepper to flavor. That's probably about, believe it or not, a half a teaspoon. That was a lot of cayenne pepper, but that's a flavor thing, not for heat. Cayenne is one of the more flavorful peppers. It is spicy hot. It adds a little heat to it, but and it adds twang to it. But it is one of the more flavorful. Okay, now over the top, I like to do, with many of my dishes, I like to do just a tiny sprinkling, maybe a quarter spoon of turmeric. I'm gonna get out the paprika, and we're gonna go with a teaspoon of paprika. And again, this is currying spices we're in here, you know. I'm gonna go, oh yeah. See, it's all bubbling up and nice. The jalapenos are coming loose and they're opening up their crescent, and oh yeah, and it's starting to smell really nice. So chili powder. Chili powder, another one of my big faves. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could just get like a chili packet from McCormick and throw it in here. I kind of like playing with spices. So I go with like 1.5 of chili powder. And the tiniest bit. Do it in, yeah, see, do it in your hand, because that's even too much. You see how much it is? This is ground cloves. And you want the tiniest bit of ground cloves in there. That's why I put it in my hand, so I can see how much. Just that reason. This stuff will ruin a recipe if you get too much in there. I don't know if you've ever tasted a clove. I mean, they smell so good. And, oh, clove cigarettes. You're at grandma's house and she's putting them in a ham and they smell good. And next thing you know, one's in your mouth when you're 6 years old. And you're like, ah, it's the most awful thing in the world. True story. All right, anyway. That's it. Now we're going to turn this down all the way to low. And the last thing to go in here is going to be these garlics. Now this is just a couple of cloves cut up, and I'm just going to let them steep right in there. A couple of cloves, some were flat, one was big and fat. I cut them into even sized pieces. I like to have them floating around inside my sauces sometimes as like little treasures, because as the heat stays on and this heats up and boils down, and all those flavors get melded together, that garlic will cook, it'll become sweet, it'll become delicious. Anyway, soup to nuts, that's it. This goes on super low heat. I'm going to put the timer on for a half an hour, and then put it on for 15 minutes. Check it every 15 minutes for like the next hour. And that's cowboy beans. Thanks for watching. That's part 2. The preps for the onions and stuff, like all those, there's links for all, like how I cut up the onions and stuff in the description. And there you go. Thanks for watching.